travel to Lucas Oil Stadium for this week's opponent, the Indianapolis Colts. This will be the third consecutive year they'll be on the road versus the Indianapolis Colts here in this season, and they'll be looking to start off 4-0, what they haven't done for the first time in 4 years. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. I am, of course, Charles Prodigy Richey. For those of you wanting to tune in and catch the game today, the game today will be broadcast on CBS. For those of you who do not have access to the game on your local TV or streaming market, you can catch the game on Sunday NFL Ticket. Today's announcers for CBS, it will be Spiro Ditas, along with Adam Archuleta and Aditi Kinklebawa will be on the sideline duties for today's show. Referee Lan Clark will be the referee in this official game time. We're less than an hour away. The Steelers will look to avenge their late season loss from last year. It was a crucial loss in Indianapolis. The Colts had a playoff opportunity by a hand slip away. They would go on to lose two out of their next three remaining games. A crucial battle right there. One of the crucial games. After they went ahead of the Steelers in the head-to-head tiebreaker, they will lose to the Houston Texans in the season finale. And of course, the winner in that game will won the division and got punched into the playoffs. Well, the Indianapolis Colts did get eliminated that night because the Steelers did defeat the Baltimore Ravens earlier Saturday evening. That was the end of a Saturday jam-packed action in Week 18 of the 2023 season. Steelers won to finish the season 10-7. Colts, virtue 9-8. They therefore eliminated. The Steelers did get into the playoffs with help from the Tennessee Titans defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Steelers would get the final wild card spot. So here we go right now. Steelers did a nice, good job last week, a week ago. And one of the big main things, too, was just talked about in that matchup versus the Chargers right there. I mean, just the negative yards of total offense versus Jim Harbaugh's team. I mean, which was just astounding. I think it was somewhere around -5, -15, whatever it was. But still, I mean, you just saw a team right there who really would have thought, one could argue, this would definitely, at that moment in time, was one of their toughest opponents to date. And they just shut down like a real good running attack when you got J.K. Dobbins and, of course, Gus Edwards, former Ravens players right there. I mean, and you looked at right there, I mean, what they were able to do to that team and just take them apart in the second half. It was definitely a closely contested game throughout most of the period. But Jim Harbaugh, his return to the NFL has not been so bad. Of course, he has one loss. I mean, look at it right there. You had right there former Ravens coordinator Greg Roman, who's doing the play action calling. You know how successful he is at running the ball in those situations. Uh, Entering that game, I mean, tops like in rushing yards. I mean, this guy's usually in the top 10 in rushing the ball. He has been a coordinator for a very long time right there. I mean, he saw his stints from the 49ers to the Bills, the Ravens, and now the Chargers right there, teaming up with John Harbaugh's brother Jim with the Chargers. And right now, I mean, you can't help but continue to ride the wave of Justin Fields right now as Russell Wilson finds a way to recover from his strained calf. I mean, you gotta believe right now when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. And for this week's action, definitely had like a nice little laundry list of players on the injury report. As we're going to take a look at the inactives here in just a second. But yeah, I think right now, I mean, the Steelers and Colts, it's definitely been never like a runaway game. But as we take a look at like right now, I'm pulling it up right now, Steelers.com. And here we go right now. The inactives for today's game right here. Of course, Russell Wilson for a fourth consecutive week. This is a strained calf he had during training camp on July 24th. Of course, wide receiver Roman Wilson, Quarterback Darius Rush, running back Jalen Warren, outside linebacker Alex Highsmith, guard Isaac Sayamalo, and then tight end McCoy Pruitt. The Colts still have seven inactive players: quarterback Sam Ellinger, wide receiver Anthony Gould, quarterback Kenny Moore the second, defensive end T. Whitty Pay, tackle Blake Freeland, center Ryan Kelly, and defensive end Jannard Avery. Jannard Avery, excuse me. So there you have it right there. And I mean, you looked at like the injury report. I mean, going into that game right there. I mean, especially I think definitely two of them that really are going to stand out. I know Highsmith has been struggling a little bit this year. This is the second year since he signed his contract. Got last year, but I tell you what, right now the only one that does concern me a little bit is Jalen Warren. Though he's been surprisingly off to like a slow start. He's only had one good game. I want to say like in the second or third week. But he was listed with a knee injury this past week. Didn't practice all week. Of course, you just heard he's one of the guys that will not be available. Roma Wilson right there been dealing with an ankle. I mean, he's still listed as one of the inactives. But I tell you what, right now, once again, you're gonna definitely have to see guys on this team right now. Najee Harris, I think is definitely gonna be a must. You want to see him to continue to build his momentum right there. You gotta believe that's gotta be one of the game plans of the Colts right there is to shut down this running attack and put the pressure on Justin Fields to win this game. I mean, where it's really starting to shape up to. I really do believe that. And Steelers versus Colts, I mean, definitely some classic games right here. I mean, for the most part, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers going heads have had a lot of classic bouts right here. I mean, all time when you think about, I mean, the history of these head-to-head rivalries. I mean, more so when they were in Indianapolis. Of course, you had some interesting moments in the playoffs when they played Baltimore, but they pretty much defeated them. I mean, in the playoffs, and just double checking on that. Let's see. So they are 5-0 versus the Colts all time in the playoffs. Of course, that is 2-0 versus them as the Baltimore Colts, and then 3-0 as the Indianapolis franchise. So, I mean, you look at the contest right here, and like I said, I mean, they have faced each other for 3 straight weeks right now. Steelers lead the all-time regular season head-to-head series, 21-7. Uh, I mean, overall, but career-wise, it would definitely be 25-7. I mean, of course, with the all-time playoff head-to-head matchups. But here we go, right there. I mean, the last win I think they really had, which was convincing over the Colts, you'd have to go back as far as like 8 years ago on Thanksgiving. That was a nightcapper game right there, which is played on NBC Sports. You saw them right there demolish the Colts on Thanksgiving, 28-7. And that was like right there. You saw after the game, it was Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell sharing like a little turkey post game reward for smashing them. That was, of course, when they finished their run, winning their games the rest of the way to get into the playoffs by virtue of winning AFC North. And we all know how that season ended. That was, of course, Mike Tomlin's last season where he did have a pair of playoff victories, only fall short to the New England Patriots. So let's get into this a little bit more. Dale Lally for Steelers versus Colts this week. We'll have Land Clark's crew officiating. They've called 50 penalties in 3 weeks, second only to Clete Blakeman's crew on a per game basis. Clark's crew has thrown 43 flags the past 2 weeks, according to Dale. And the Steelers, since winning their first 3 games with a defense that has allowed just 26 total points and 229 yards per game, both by far the best in the NFL. But they've also done it by getting off the field quickly. I mean, when you look at it too, right here, another thing to really pay attention to, I mean, with the Steelers in this contest right here, they versus the Colts. I mean, this is definitely a huge deal right here. You talk about getting off the field quickly. I mean, time possession, it's like not even close. They are second in the league in controlling the ball away from their opponents at 33 minutes and 55 minutes. I mean, that's pretty much more than half the game right there. Colts, on the other hand, they are dead last in that category. Uh, Only 21 and a half minutes. They ranked 32nd. And that's going to be a huge right there. But how much is that too with the running style right there? I mean, they've been doing a good job of controlling the run and stopping it. But like I said, now you're going to be asking for more guys right here on this team. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, running depth with Warren being hurt with a knee, I think for the offense too, you're going to have to look at guys to really pick up the slack, not just behind Najee Harris, but I mean, look at Cordero Patterson right there. Yeah, I wonder if a guy like Connor Hayward could be in there, be help utilize on special plays. That'd be a guy to watch out for in this game. See what he could do. He's definitely had a little struggling season. But I gotta believe you're gonna hear his name called and on some good momentum plays throughout this game. I mean, then you also look at like say like McCoy Pruitt though, who's been doing a good year this year for this team. I mean, it's definitely been an all team effort. A lot of solidarity. We've been hearing, like I mentioned many times before, we heard a zillion times throughout this offseason, a lot of solidarity no matter who the quarterback is. And you really got to like put that definitely in the perspective right here. I mean, as they try and like continue to keep their footing alive right now. Now, one guy surprisingly so far who has not had a touchdown his way is George Pickens, who is still their top receiver. He's caught 13 of his 18 targets this year, averaging 13.2 yards per reception, 171 yards receiving altogether. Not really involved in any rushing plays. If he was, he had negative yards, minus 10 yards off of one attempt this year. Definitely get off a field quickly. I mean, for right now, I mean, like defensively and just controlling the ball throughout this game is definitely going to be a big deal for them. I think continue to manage that. Now, despite already having faced Atlanta's Bijan Robinson and J.K. Dobbins of the Chargers, Steelers are allowing just 71.3 yards rushing per game and 3.5 yards per rushing attempt. Now, the Colts ran for 170 yards in the 30-13 win over the Steelers last season with Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson doing the bulk of the work in the running game. Now, you also got to keep in mind, too, you got Jonathan Taylor right here. I mean, who's injured, I think, in 2022. But Indianapolis, they boast another of the league's top running backs in Taylor. Missed a game against the Steelers a year ago. Averaged today's game with 261 yards in the first three games, an impressive 5.1 yards per carry average, as well as Anthony Richardson, too. I mean, a guy who could run so far. I mean, you look at Anthony Richardson right here. I mean, he is definitely another guy on this team to be really wary of. I mean, he could also help out. I mean, that's going to be another guy to be interesting to contain right there for the Colts. I mean, you definitely got to feel like they're going to find a way to try and neutralize TJ Watt and try and slow down this pass rush a little bit. I mean, the pass rush hasn't been booming that much. But I mean, it's still respectable enough in the league where you recognize a game record in TJ Watt. But anyway, Anthony Richardson right now, he's got 117 yards himself off of 18 carries, over six. He's got 6.5 yards per attempt, and he's also got a rushing touchdown too to show for it. So he's been able to get one in the end zone using his legs. But Anthony Richardson too. I mean, the passing still struggling a little bit. He's 1-2 as a starter this year, completing only 49.3% of his passes. And another thing to really look at too, that's going to be really thing the Steelers need to really take advantage of too. He turns the ball over pretty bad right now. He's got 3 touchdowns and 6 interceptions right here. Uh, Now the Colts have done not too bad of a job. I mean, for only I mean, 3 games. I mean, 4 sacks. I mean, which is pretty good offensive line right here. So the Steelers may have a little bit of issues with the Colts offensive line. I would imagine too they're going to try and after the Richardson to get the ball in his hands quick when he does pass, but try and he's definitely going to be one of those dual threats today. I tell you that. That's definitely one guy you do not want to have get going right there. I mean, and I'd be really interested to see how this game is going to be when they start off right now. I mean, the Steelers for the most part. I mean, for this season, looking at it, I mean, just trying to like how they continue to. I mean, if they could just find a way to just get off to a quick start. I mean, for once early in this game, and like build some momentum that way. And yeah, I mean, the Steelers right now have definitely been doing their job as far as methodically moving the ball. Now, has it been like enough touchdowns? No, it has not. But I mean, when you look at a team right here, I mean, who for the most part, I mean, through this season, I mean, who's actually got 3 touchdowns. I mean, for the most part, I mean, 3 touchdowns to show for it for this year, or four, excuse me. 3 touchdowns altogether this year to show for it. I mean, which is still pretty darn impressive right there. I mean, not that impressive. Excuse me. I mean, definitely needs to just be scoring more points. I feel like right now, I mean, it's just Phil's job to lose at this point. But anyway, speaking of which, I mean, like a couple of names to stand out for from the Colts perspective too. Shane Steichen, who enters his second season with the Colts, like I just mentioned a moment ago, had a winning season his first year with the team. He came over from the Philadelphia Eagles. But anyway, I mean, the Colts, I mean, last week they held the Bears to just 63 yards in the win, something they will once again aim to do this week versus Steelers uh, for this contest right here. And the Colts, I mean, just holding them to 63 yards, but I mean, Colts coach Shane Steichen knows it'll be a challenge for both their defense and offense, who will face the Steelers' top-ranked defense. With the Steelers 3-0 head in Indianapolis, Steichen's message to his players is simple: you got to prepare to win the game. That's what it is. You got to prepare to win the game and have the will to win the game. But I think preparing to win the game is the most important. But if you add the will to win, I mean, then it becomes scary. But it all starts with the preparation during the week to get it done on Sunday. Now, 2 names that stand out, of course, for the Colts right here, the most obvious ones right now is TJ Watt, who's looking to become the first ever Steeler to get 100 sacks, which has never happened before in franchise history, believe it or not. I mean, a team who definitely likes to blitz a lot. Now, they did have one, Kevin Green, but remember, he only played 3 seasons. But still, I mean, it was enough right there. I mean, what you looked at, like what he did in his impactful time. I mean, during his time that actually got them to a Super Bowl, even though they came up just a little bit shy. But Green right there was definitely their version of the sack master for those seasons under Blitzberg right there, who definitely put them on the map. But yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, they definitely. I mean, that's going to be awesome right there to look right there. I mean, you're probably going to potentially see history made. TJ Watt only needs a half a sack to get it the first ever Steeler with 100 sacks. But like I said, in Kevin Green's 3 seasons, I mean, with the Steelers, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, 35 and a half sacks in 3 seasons, which is pretty remarkable right there. I mean, he was definitely a guy who caused a lot of chaos right there. He ranks 16th on the all-time sack leaders in franchise history. I mean, followed by TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, who's actually got one more sack than James Harrison. James Harrison was the sack leader. TJ Watt passed that last season. But here we go right now. You look at it going to this game. I mean, definitely TJ Watt, like I said, definitely a true game record right now. One of Bill Cowher's favorites, which we'll get to a little bit in a moment here. But yeah, I mean, how many times he's been able to come up with a lot of fumble recoveries right here and just do stuff that just really just blows your mind away. I mean, his motor, his will to get to the quarterback, just make a game changing play. I mean, even in their loss to the Chiefs right there, he was the guy who got that strip fumble return for a touchdown, I believe it was, or whatever it was. But I mean, TJ Watt, I mean, it's just definitely a guy who's got a lot of havoc. I mean, no doubt on here. I mean, TJ Watt, I mean, his career, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, just remarkable what they've been able to take with this guy. I mean, he's got 11 fumble recoveries. I mean, he's got a fumble recovery this year. He had three last year. His total career high fumble recoveries was 5 years ago in 2019 when he had 14 and a half sacks along with 36 quarterback hits. But I mean, his Defense Player of the Year award, which he earned 3 years ago, which should have been the official sack leader universally over Michael Strahan, where he had 22 and a half sacks, 39 quarterback hits, and of course, I mean, 21 tackles for loss while playing only 15 of 16 of those games, I mean, of those 17 games that year. And that was the first of the 17 game season. I mean, Shane on Watt, I mean, definitely saying this guy is a phenomenal football player. He is always around the ball, has a relentless motor, plays 100 miles an hour on every snap. So we got to have a plan for him. They're playing good defense right now. I know it's 3 games in, but I think they are only giving up 8.5 points a game or something. So it'll be a heck of a challenge. I know our guys are fired up for the challenge going against them. It'll be fun on Sunday. Defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, I'm facing another mobile quarterback, this time Justin Fields. Well, in some ways, he was very mobile last week. Now was the difference, right? It wasn't mobile in terms of him and design runs, but in the pocket, you saw where Leatu uh, spun out there, and we lost contain. He ended up making the play. Now, the other guy to focus on too from a close perspective will be Justin Fields, playing phenomenal ball right now, well improved. I mean, so far, definitely caught me by surprise. Definitely being one of his critics, doing a good job offensively and defensively, and he's playing good. Uh, Anthony continues to go on what he has seen from the Steelers defense. They're playing great right now, lights out. They're flying to the ball. Guys are making plays. So we just got to make sure we're on top of our details and just making our plays. Striking what the hallmark of the Steelers defense is. I think physical. They're really physical. It starts up front with obviously Watt. Cam Hayward has been doing it for a long time. Game Patrick Queen over from Baltimore, good player. He also was paying attention to Porter Jr., who's playing good on the outside. Dante Jackson, Mika Fitzpatrick on the back end. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get ready to wrap this up here in just a few moments here. Keys to the game right now. Now you look at starting left guard, Isaac Seumalo Magic in the third consecutive week of limited practice, but is listed as doubtful. As we look back at it too for this game, I mean, continue to see what they'll be doing here. But yeah, he was definitely a guy right here. I mean, they put him on there on that list prior to the season began. I mean, for preseason. I mean, you look at Isaac Seumalo. I mean, double checking inactives report right here. He is not listed. No, he is listed inactive. Excuse me. So, like I said, the Steelers will be without seven players here. So look for rookie Mason McCormick to fill in from the get-go this time and take off the rotational training wheels with Spencer Anderson. Quarterback Russell Wilson, he is questionable again and still has yet to log a full practice. Reserve tight end Nicole Pruitt has been ruled out for the second game of the role with a knee injury. Colts quarterback Anthony Richey will be the first key going to this game. The key match to focus on, and I got this from Brian Back. Will give him credit from Pittsburgh Post Gazette. Anthony Richardson versus free safety Minka Fitzpatrick. Richard's struggles have been well documented. He's missing too many easy throws for an NFL quarterback, but he might have the most powerful arm in the league, which will challenge Fitzpatrick to keep a lid on the back end. Fitzpatrick also might have to keep an eye on design runs that Richardson blocked up to the second level. Let's be the first key. Key number 2, Colts left tackle Bernard Ryman versus Steelers outside linebacker Nick Herbig. We've seen Herbig's ability to generate splash plays, but there's always been as a change of pace back up to Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. Now he'll be closer to an every down player with Highsmith out, and his first obstacle in that role is Raymond, a third-round pick in 2022, who tested at the combine is one of the most athletic tackles in that class. Now, going into key number 3 in this game, slowing down the two-head running attack, Jonathan Taylor and quarterback Anthony Richardson. They have both combined for 378 yards off 79 carries, 4.79 yards per attempt. Keeping Anthony in the pocket will be key. Key number 4, pressure and more pressure. Last week versus Chargers, Steelers increased their pressures from 2 in Denver to 15 versus Chargers a week ago. We got to the quarterback 5 times while blitzing the second most this season was 6. Also, another key, Colts safety Julian Blackmon versus Steelers quarterback Justin Fields. Blackmon had 4 interceptions last season, but he's yet to pick off a pass 2024. He's a type of ball-hawking safety who can line anywhere from one play to the next to confuse an offense. Fields hasn't faced the Colts yet, but is 2-0 at Lucas Oil Stadium, helping Ohio State win back-to-back Big Ten titles in that building. And the last key to finish up, turnover battle. Steelers have dropped 3 spots down to 4th in turnover ratio after leading the league going into the matchup versus Chargers. Despite losing the battle a week ago versus Chargers, Justin's sole interception are 9th in scoring. The Colts have scored 21 points off their opponent's turnovers. Like I said, that ranks 9th. That's including 4 and outs and block kick returns. All those have been touchdowns, so 21 points. So once again, the key for this game, Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson versus free safety Minka Fitzpatrick. Colts left tackle Bernard Ryman versus Steelers outside linebacker Nick Herbig. Slowing down the two-head running attack in Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, who have a dangerous running game combined together. Pressure or more pressure. Colts safety Julian Blackmon versus Steelers quarterback Justin Fields, and winning the turnover battle. Because if you end up losing that, Colts will make you pay scoring points off those turnovers. And that's going to do it for this edition here of the Show Blitz, presented by the Meta Steel Podcast, the Steelers versus Colts pregame show. Once again, you can catch this game on Sunday, NFL Sunday Ticket if you're a subscriber. For those that's not in your local market, or you can watch it at your local Steeler bar or friend, wherever you watch it. For those of you who are watching in the area, this game will be on CBS and Paramount, I would imagine. But anyway, once again, you guys can follow me on X at MetaSteelCGR and on Instagram at MetaSteelNation. Next episode, Bill Cowher had an interesting list of his top 5 greatest Steelers defenders of all time. We'll get into that on the next episode, either in the post game or in the next few days. Definitely got to hear my thoughts and reactions to that. I'm sure people read it. It is on. It was shared on Jerry Dulac's article for the Pittsburgh Post Gazette. That's going to do it for the edition of Show Blitz, Steelers versus Colts pregame show. As always, don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Thank you for watching the Meta Steel Podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Meta Steel Podcast episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.